We're doing a basic derivative, still using the rules, and now it's in the context of examining a table. The following table lists the values of functions g and h and of their derivatives, g prime and h prime, for x equals -2. Okay, there's our table there. And then let the function f be defined as f of x is equal to 6 times g sub x plus 2 times h of x minus 1. Find f prime of -2. All right, so using this information right here, we can kind of break things down. So let's go ahead and do that. So f prime of x. So I think that's kind of a good way to go to start off. There's our f of x right there. Just rewrite it. 6 times the g function plus 2 times the h function, and then subtracted by 1. So the derivative is going to be the derivative of each term separately. So the derivative of the first term right here, the 6 goes out in front, and it's going to be times whatever that g derivative is, g derivative. Okay, so with respect to x. So that's what's kind of going on here. X is our input. So g gets the derivative done on it with respect to x, plus the 2 stays out in front, the 2 times whatever that h derivative is. So the derivative of h is going to be h prime of x. And the derivative of a constant is always 0. So plus 0. So that just drops off basically. And then we're going to be plugging in the components of g prime of x and h prime of x at 2, which is what this is evaluated at. So we don't need the h and the g normal function. They're not asking about that. They want the derivative. So we just take the derivative and then we'll plug in those components. So this would be equal to, this implies that f prime of -2, according to our table, is going to be 6 times the g. So when I plug in 2 right here, when I plug, -2. When I plug in -2 right here, there's my g prime of -2. The answer is 2. And then we have a plus sign, 2 times h prime, and then we're plugging in our -2 again. Plugging in our -2 for h prime is this one here. Output's 8. And then we don't need that plus 0. This turns into 12 plus 16, and I get 28 as my final answer. 28. Next problem. Following table lists values of functions f and g, their derivatives f prime and g prime for x equals 0. Here's our table. And then they want us to evaluate this function right here. So taking the derivative at x equals 0. All right, so the same game, we want to do the derivative with respect to x on this, and I'll just go ahead and do that first. So they're asking us, let's just go ahead and rewrite it. 6 times the f function minus 2 times the g function plus 1. All right. And then they want us to plug in 0. But let's go ahead and do the derivative first. So when we do the derivative, it's going to give us 6 times f prime of x. So that's the derivative of the f function with respect to x. That's the variable we're respecting. Minus the 2. The 2 goes out in front. And then it's going to be the derivative of the g function. And then derivative of a constant is always 0. Okay. At this stage, we can go ahead and plug in our x. So at x equals 0, this is going to be 6 times our f prime. We're plugging in 0 here, and we're plugging in 0 here. Okay, so 6 times f prime at 0 is 3. minus the 2 at G prime is -5. And that's still multiply. Okay, let's go ahead and simplify. That would give us 18. Negative and a negative make a positive. That's 10. Answer 28 on this one. 28. All right. So that's the technique here, is you don't want to plug these in until you've done the derivative so that you can keep the respect to x going through. See if the next one's any different. And looks to be the same kind of problem.